Here's the solution to all your hair problems. I have had telogen effluent and androgenetic alopecia since 2024. And I lost large chunks of hair during my divorce. My telogen effluent stayed for an entire year from 2024 and 2025. In 2025, after so much testing and after so much trying and doctor visits and tests and opinions of different doctors and self-diagnosing, I was able to somewhat reverse my telogen effluent and androgenetic alopecia without prescription medication. And now the first therapy that doctors will put you on if you go to a dermatologist is minoxidil, either topical or oral, and finasteride, and for women it's spironolactone. These are the most common treatments a doctor will prescribe you if you go to a dermatologist. The other issues along with this chaos I had was thin hair, dry hair, and oily, painful scalp. So every time I would touch my scalp, it would hurt. It would get inflamed, and then I would get like little pimple type situations on my scalp. Now you can call this scalp dermatitis, scalp acne, scalp pimples, whatever you want to call it. But there were pimples like you would get pimples on the skin. I would get them on the scalp, and then I won't be able to put my head down on my pillow to sleep. I have finally cracked the code to solve all of these problems, and I'm going to give you everything in this video. I know how overwhelming it can be with so much noise on the internet, with so much information. Everybody's trying different things, everybody's giving you different information, and doing everything will not solve your problem, but doing these certain things will help you solve your issue. But staying consistent with this will help you overcome those issues. So just before we get into this video, I just want to tell you that my mom is 69 years old. She has had androgenetic alopecia for 40 years, and she was also able to reverse it just by staying consistent with these two products. Now, today I will give you the solutions to all of these problems. After wasting thousands of dollars, I'm going to simplify for you in this video. And these solutions you can begin to use right now, starting today. And if you stay consistent, you will see results in the next 6 months. So before you scroll away thinking that this video is not for you, let me clarify. The hair thickness has to do a lot with genetics, but not entirely. You can reverse thin hair and make it into thick strands just like I did. And it is not that difficult. It is actually very simple if you stay consistent, like I said. So just keep watching this video until the end, and then you might figure out that this video was actually helpful for you. So we're going to start with thin hair first. This is the one that is most common and people most complain about. Now you're going to say, I was born with thin hair. When I was born, I naturally had thin hair. Now, first, let me tell you, when you were born and you had thin hair, that was because the blood circulation was not going towards your scalp. This is why you developed thin hair. But can you switch that thin hair into thick hair in adulthood? Yes. Let me explain how thin hair happens. This is the model of the hair follicle and the inside, the scalp. This is where all the blood vessels are, okay? Thin hair happens when you don't have enough blood circulating towards your scalp in order for your follicles to feed off of that blood supply and the nutrients in your blood supply. So how are you going to reverse this issue? When the follicles start to shrink, right? When the follicles start to get small, that is when your hair strands come out thinner. If you want to have thicker hair strands, first of all, you need to wash your hair more often. And this is a very common problem. And I also face this issue because I saw that a lot of people were hair training, so they were washing like 2 to 3 times a week, saying that if you wash your hair less often, you will produce less sebum and less oil, which is not true, and that I discovered with a lot of hair loss. So what you are going to do is every time your scalp gets oily, you are going to wash it properly. You're going to double shampoo. First shampoo, you're going to use a clarifying shampoo. This is going to help get rid of all of the oils in your scalp, break everything down. Second shampoo you're going to go with is a hydrating shampoo, because you don't want to dry out your hair, because a clarifying hair shampoo will dry out your hair strand. So every time your scalp gets oily, wash it off. And then you're going to scalp massage. You don't have to buy the scalp massager. You're going to physically move your scalp and you're going to pinch. So if you're able to pinch your scalp, you're going to pinch your scalp and get rid of that tension. The more you do this, the more circulation you will have, because what is essentially happening is this top part is very tight, right? When you can't move your scalp, that means this is very tight. Now, because this is very tight, the blood vessels under, they cannot get through. They are also very tight. So every time the blood goes, it's not able to feed the follicle, so it goes back down. And that is what is happening. This is why massaging your scalp, exercising, and doing things that stimulate blood flow, making sure there's no scalp tension, because you don't only want to stimulate blood flow, you want to remove the scalp tension. And I think everybody has that, including me. Like, I can move it more, but in the beginning when I started, I could not move my scalp at all. Next thing I'm going to talk about is dry hair. So this is a most common issue, especially people with curly hair. I have curly hair, so I struggle with dry hair a lot. And then I finally figured out a routine that helped moisturize the bottom strands of my hair. And I'm going to give you that breakdown right now. First is you're going to deep condition your hair with heat. Now, what do I mean by that? So when you wash your hair in the shower, right, with shampoo, and you're going to use the conditioner, that's your normal conditioner that you're going to use. But this deep conditioner you're going to use is you're going to use it once a week. You're going to apply it to your hair, and then you're going to run a hair dryer on it. Not on high heat, on the lowest heat setting that you have in your hair dryer. Now, when you put the hair dryer on top of that deep hair mask, open up the cuticle of your hair strand. Each cuticle is either closed or open. If it's a closed cuticle, that means the moisture will not go inside. So when you put heat on it, it will open the cuticle. The deep conditioner will go into the cuticle, and it will then you're going to put it on the cold setting, and then it will close the cuticle. This works like magic. I cannot express to you how much this has worked for my extremely dry curly hair. After you wash that out with just plain water, no shampoo, then you're going to use a leave-in spray with heat protectant. Now the leave-in hairspray that I use is a vitamin hairspray. And then after that, you're going to use a leave-in conditioner. So it's like the sandwich method. Go from the thinnest to the thickest consistency. So now you're going to use a leave-in conditioner, which is a little bit thick. And then you're going to apply heat again on top. So by heat, I don't mean like hair straightening, hair styling. I mean, use a blow dryer, put it on the lowest heat settings, and then dry your hair and dry everything. Starting from your roots, start with drying your roots first, because the bottom will dry off on its own. And then keep doing this consistently for 6 months, and you will see your hair texture change, and you will see more moisture, more bounce, and more life in your hair. Next, I'm going to talk about dandruff. So dandruff usually happens when your scalp has buildup. Not necessarily if it's dry, but it has to do with buildup. Now, let me give you a little example. A lot of people understand these examples with skincare. So the reason we use salicylic acid and glycolic acid on our skin is to exfoliate the top layer of the skin, so that the bottom layer can be a nice shiny layer. So it's basically for a chemical exfoliation, right? A lot of people like to do a physical exfoliate. Same thing is happening with your scalp. There is buildup on your scalp, and because you're not exfoliating that part away, that turns into dandruff. So what you are going to do is, first of all, every single week you're going to choose one day out of your entire week. Just choose one day and then stay consistent. You're going to use a salicylic acid. Let's say you choose a Saturday. Salicylic acid on a Saturday, 30 minutes before you wash your hair. Then the following week on a Saturday, you're going to use a glycolic acid on your scalp, 30 minutes, and then you're going to wash it off. When you consistently do this, you will not only fix your dandruff issue, but you will also keep exfoliating the scalp, and that will help get rid of the dead skin, and it will bring more oxygen to your follicles, and you will have better, bouncier, lively, full body hair. So this is a very important step. And if you want to get rid of your dandruff fast and you don't want to do this treatment right now, you're going to use a shampoo, an anti-dandruff shampoo, either ketoconazole, Selsun Blue, or you can even use the Dove shampoo that has salicylic acid in it. Now, when you use the Dove shampoo or medicated shampoos for such problems of your scalp, the biggest mistake people make is when they apply the shampoo, they wash it off right away. That's what you're not going to do, because these are medicated shampoos targeted to treat specific scalp problems. So when you shampoo your hair, you're going to leave that shampoo on for 5 to 10 minutes. Leave it on your hair and wash your body and do other things while that sits on your scalp and it does its job. And then you can wash it off. But do not do 2 times of that same shampoo. Let's say you're going to use Selsun Blue. You're going to do the first wash, and then the second wash, you're not going to use it. Then you're going to use a regular hydrating shampoo, because you don't want to dry out your scalp further. And the way you will notice is when you go like this, your scalp is going to feel tight. Like, it doesn't feel good. Like, you know how your skin, sometimes you go like this and it feels tight? Yeah, that's what's going to happen on your scalp. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk to you about oily scalp. Now, I have dealt with this and I continually deal with this, but here's the solution. And again, I'm going to talk to you about skincare because it will be easier for you to understand. When you go to a dermatologist and you complain about oily skin, right? A lot of people have a lot of oil in this T-zone. The dermatologist is going to tell you to use a moisturizer on a daily basis. Now you're going to say, well, that's counteractive because I have oily skin, so why am I going to apply moisturizer on top? Well, that's the trick, right? When your skin is very dry, it compensates it by producing more oil. But if you are giving it the moisturizer it needs, the oil that it produces on its own will go down. Same thing with your scalp. When your scalp is very dry, it compensates it by producing more oil. Now, a lot of people will tell you that oil is good for you, but it is not. It clogs your follicles. It blocks the oxygen from coming in and going out. And then you will face hair fall because that specific sebum on your scalp is actually testosterone converted into DHT. And the longer you keep it on your scalp, the more it will clog your hair follicles. So if you see, I've drawn a gray thing around the hair follicle. So this is a clogged follicle. And when the follicle gets clogged, it gets clogged right down to the hair bulb, right? So that's what you're not going to do. So in order to help your scalp produce less oil, you're going to use a scalp oil. Now, I use the Miraculox Hair Duo, the essence and the oil. But let's say you don't want to use that. You can use whatever scalp oil suits you. You can do your own research because according to my knowledge and my research, there is no carrier oil that is actually beneficial for your hair follicles. For example, carrier oil, I mean, if you use straight up coconut oil, straight up almond oil, straight up mustard oil, straight up sesame oil, straight up grapeseed oil, straight up jojoba oil, so you get the point, right? These are called carrier oils. And the reason these are called carrier oils is because you're supposed to basically take an essential oil or a herb or whatever, and you're supposed to mix those into these oils, which is a carrier oil or a base oil, you can call it. So you can choose whatever scalp oil you want for your scalp, and start applying it 1 to 2 times a week. What this is going to do is this is going to calm the scalp down. It's going to tell the scalp, okay, I have the oil I need. I don't need to produce more oil. Okay? And when your scalp does produce more oil, just keep washing it. If you produce oil every single day, your scalp produces oil every single day, you're going to wash it every single day. That's okay. Washing your hair more often does not lead to more hair loss. That's just a myth somebody started on the internet. It does not work like that. If you go back in time in the 1960s, 1950s, 1940s, 1930s, people showered and washed their hair with Castile soap every single day, and they faced less hair loss than we have today. We have now people in their 16 and 17 years old, they're starting to face hair loss. That is a very big indication of the problems we are facing, not just with clogged follicles, not just with bad circulation, not just with hair loss, but also with bad diet. So I'm going to come to that in a bit. Last one I'm going to talk to you about is hair loss. Now, dealing with hair loss is not like one size fits all, because dealing with hair loss requires a lot of time, dedication, and commitment from your side. What do I mean by that? First of all, you're going to fix your diet. Now, everybody tells you to eat more protein, and you think that you are eating more protein. But in reality, you're probably not even eating enough. And the reason I can say this is because I always thought I was eating a lot of protein. For example, I would have 2 eggs for breakfast, and then for dinner, I would have like 1 piece of chicken leg, and I would think, oh, I have enough protein. That is not it. Okay, out of that 1 chicken leg, I would have 1 thigh, and then I would give the leg to my mom or leave the drumstick for the next day. But when I started counting my calories and when I started logging everything on Chronometer, it is a free app you can download. That's when I found out I'm not even eating enough protein and my calories are too high, which was why I was gaining weight. And gaining weight is very bad for your scalp, okay? It's not just about hair loss or looking good. You need to lose weight in order to have better circulation to your scalp, because there is a lot of fat deposits in your blood. There is a lot of cholesterol circulating in your blood, which is why it's having problems going to your scalp. Because remember, the blood starts from the heart. It goes down into the legs. Then it has to fight gravity to come back up, right? So when it fights gravity in the calf of our leg, if you see, there is a little pump there. So it pumps the blood and it pushes it up. When it pushes it up, if it's too fatty, it will not go into the scalp, right? This is why a lot of people face brain fog and a lot of other problems. So losing weight is not just to look good, it is actually for your scalp health. So if you are overweight, make sure you start losing weight, start counting your calories, and start checking your protein intake. Now that is a good place for you to start. Why? Because your hair is made out of keratin. Keratin is a protein. What happens is when you eat low amounts of protein, let's say you are eating 50 grams or 60 grams of protein in the entire day, that protein gets taken up by your muscles first. There's nothing left for your hair, right? So this is where the problem is. Number 2, we're still on the hair loss protocol, right? Okay. Number 2, you're going to get a complete blood test. First of all, you're going to get a separate test for a complete iron panel. A complete iron panel will test ferritin, hemoglobin, complete blood count, red blood cells, transferrin, everything. How much is stored, how much is being used, and how much is not being used. What are the percentages? Everything is going to test. That's why it's called a panel. Next thing you're going to test for is vitamin D, B12, zinc. Zinc is an element that not very many people take seriously. It is not very much talked about, but zinc actually helps with the oxidative stress on your follicles. It helps with the aging of your follicles. It helps with opening up the follicles and increasing the density of your follicles. It helps with the hair quality on your head. So zinc has a lot of benefits, but it is not something that is very emphasized by doctors, but it's very, very important. Now, which type of zinc should you take is zinc picolinate. You should take it every single day. If you are deficient in iron, you're going to take iron with vitamin C and L-lysine every other day, early morning, empty stomach. So I have made a detailed video about supplements, what supplements to take, why to take them, and the dosing. I will list them in the cards and I will put it in the comments down below. Now we're going to talk about topical. If you have acne on your scalp, what I usually do is I drink an anti-inflammatory drink every single night. I take moringa capsules every single night. And I made a black seed paste. So basically I took black seeds, I mixed it in with honey, and I made it into a paste. I take that every single morning. What is this going to do and why do I take it? This is an anti-inflammatory concoction that I take. I'm trying to fight inflammation from all angles, from morning and in the night. When you fight inflammation internally and externally, then these problems subside. Next thing I do is topically, I take yogurt, regular yogurt. It doesn't have to be Greek yogurt or whatever, just regular yogurt. I mix turmeric powder and I mix a little bit of black pepper because you need black pepper in order to activate the curcumin, right? And I apply it to my scalp. What this does is the turmeric acts as an antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. When you apply it, it's going to burn, okay? It is going to hurt, and you're probably going to cry if your pimples are really that bad, like mine are. But after you wash it off, it will form a little hardening case on it, just like pimples do, or when you get burnt, you have like a scab. Don't pick at that scab. Let it fall off on its own. If your scalp is really that bad, you can use this topical mask every single day for 7 days, or I use it once a week. It goes away completely. Next thing, if you have androgenetic alopecia, you just have baldness, you have patches of baldness, this can be solved through using a topical treatment. Now, if you are somebody who wants to use minoxidil, go ahead, use minoxidil. I'm not an advocate of minoxidil. I don't use it. I don't want to use it. I don't like it. I use the Miracle Locks Hair Duo, the essence. This has 11 targeted peptides in it. It works on the hair bulb and the dermapapilla. The hair bulb is right here, okay? This is where hair growth starts. If your hair bulb is not strong, if your base is not strong, let's say you're putting up a building, a construction building. If your base is not strong, you're using very cheap material, the whole building is going to collapse eventually, right? Same thing with your scalp. If your hair bulb and the dermapapilla is not strong, the surrounding wall, your hair is not going to be strong. So even if you are using Kerastase or you're using L'Oreal that has Aminexil in it, you're just forcing the hair to anchor to this weak root. You're forcing it to do that because these two products just help with hair anchoring. They don't grow new hair. They don't grow new hair follicles. They don't do any of that. It's Aminexil. They just help with hair anchoring. So you're forcing the hair to stay here. You're telling it to stay. But eventually when you stop using it, it's going to fall out. Because in that specific moment, you didn't force it to stay there, so it fell out. It's just like plants or anything, right? Even with plants, if the root gets rotten, you can keep the plant up there for as long as you want, right? Just to make it look good, or just because you think it looks good. But if the root is rotten and you just pull the plant up, it's gonna fall off, right? That's how your hair is. So this Miracle Locks hair essence is 11 targeted peptides. It works on the dermapapilla and the hair bulb. When you use this for androgenetic alopecia, you do not expect any miracle to happen in 15 to 30 days. It's not going to happen. If there are people online telling you that you will see amazing results in 30 days, all your hair is going to come back in 30 days, false advertising, they're just marketing to get your money, does not work like that. Miracle Locks hair essence will only give you results after 100 days of consistent use. Okay? It's going to bring back the hair. The hair is going to be stronger than ever because this 11 peptides not only helps to grow hair, but it also helps to anchor the hair, increase the density of the hair follicle, which means that each follicle, instead of having one hair, you will have 3 to 4 strands of hair. That means a fuller head of hair. And then the oil, it will help increase the thickness of each strand while it comes out of your head, so that you will be able to feel one strand and feel its thickness. Like if I feel one hair strand, I can feel the thickness in my hand, and I'm only holding one. But it was not always like that. My hair used to be so thin. When I used to feel it, I couldn't even feel it, any hair in my hand. Now I take one hair strand and I can feel the hair strand in my hand. It's amazing. Like every single day when I see my hair growth, I feel shocked that this product actually works. So these are the solutions to these problems. So basic recap is, for dry hair, you're going to do a deep conditioner, a leave-in hairspray, leave-in conditioner, and then heat. For dandruff, you're going to wash it with a ketoconazole, Selsun Blue, or salicylic acid shampoo. Use salicylic acid and glycolic acid every other week, alternating. For oily scalp, you're not going to let your scalp get oily. You're going to wash it off every time it gets oily, and you're going to start applying a hair oil to your scalp. And then for hair loss, you're going to do a complete iron panel. You're going to get your thyroid checked. You're going to get your vitamin D, vitamin B12, and your zinc checked. You're going to lose weight if you need to lose weight. You're going to increase your protein. You're going to log your protein. They're going to increase blood circulation, and then you're going to use the topical products. So these are the solutions to all of your hair problems. If you have any questions, leave them down below and let me know how else I can help you solve your hair problem, because it is not as difficult as you have made it. You're just feeling hopeless right now, but let me tell you, your hair can get better and thicker to the point that you've never had that type of hair in your life before. It can happen, and it will happen. Just let me know how I can help you. Let me know your comments down below, your questions down below, okay?